Hey everybody, Ryan here with Salesgevity. Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you checking this out. Today I'm going to talk about trade shows because they're definitely ramping up. There's a lot of momentum and excitement behind trade shows, and trade shows are back. So that means a lot of you are going to be either distributed or dispersed out to these trade shows. You're going to be in the field again, maybe walking the trade show floor, shaking hands, kissing babies, exchanging business cards, and trying to drum up new business. Although some of these events will still remain virtual, what I'm going to show you today can be used in either or scenario, meaning virtual events or in-person, on-premise events at a city or town near you. So most of us who are in sales, we're probably used to, at least at this point, if there's a trade show coming up and we're either a sponsor or an event participant, or we're having a booth there or a speaker, marketing is going to do what? Well, they're going to give us the list. The list of who? The list of attendees, the people that are actually going to be coming to the show. And they're going to say, hey, we got the list of attendees 2 weeks before the show, a month before the show, whatever it may be. Go ahead, call this list, try to book some appointments before you get to the show for when you get to the show. So get on it right now, basically. I am, my 20 years of selling, 20 plus years of selling, have never had success with taking the list from a trade show, making those calls, and booking meetings for the day of the trade show. Rarely, if ever, did I get a meeting. Maybe 1, 2, 3 here and there, but nothing that I could really say, hey, that was worth the effort. So what I want to do today is I want to show you what I'm doing here at Salesgevity for our clients, on behalf of our clients, to help them really get the most out of events and trade shows that either they're going to be participating in, sponsoring, or maybe speaking at. But I want to help the SDRs and AEs, and of course their top of funnel as much as I can, with getting them meetings, or at least at a minimum drawing attention and brand awareness in front of or to the prime cut or high level executive or high ICP, high level persona, whatever you want to call it, to the prime prospects that are going to be at these shows. So when I look at a trade show, what I basically try to do first and foremost is see who is speaking there and what are they speaking about. And typically speakers who are at trade shows, they carry some clout. And as you go through industry by industry, you will find that depending on what industry the trade show is in, the more prominent the speaker is going to be. So I'm going to show you 2 examples of that right now. One with R&D sourcing in pharma. So this is a pharmaceutical conference. And then I'm going to show you one that's like massive cloud tech type stuff with Adobe, right? So I got 2 tabs up here. We're going to go through that. But what I'm going to show you today is how you can basically ensure that your brand, who you are, what you do, and what you sell can get in front of these speakers. Because speakers are, aside from chopping at the bit to get back on stage and do what they love to do, and that's talk to people and their peers and present and just speak, it gives them life. They breathe it in and they feel good when they're on stage speaking. So they're really, really excited to get out from the basement, get from behind their office desk and back out in the field again and in front of the people that they love to help and serve. But these, in addition to being speakers, these people are oftentimes decision makers, and decision makers are who we want to speak to as much as possible when it comes to selling. So I want to show you today how you can scrap the conventional methods of calling lists and sponsors and scanning badges and doing those ridiculous things over and over again that do not work, and honing in on a prime cut list of prospects and people that at a minimum we want to at least get our message across. And we want to do it as soon as possible. We don't want to wait for a marketing list. We don't want to wait a week before the show. We want to get on this, and we want to get on it now. So I'm going to use 2 or 3 different mediums here. The first is very simple. It's going to the actual conference webpage, the show that the conference is on, or at least listed on, and it's going to give us all the information we need. And then from there, I'm going to go over to Sales Navigator in LinkedIn, and I'm going to build out lead lists and start to give myself the next layer of intelligence and a bit of structure on how I can go about organizing my approach and what I'm going to do here. Okay, so let's dig in. So the 6th annual R&D conference, like I said, the first place I want to go to is well, first I want to shrink my big head. So I'm going to shrink my big head. All right, so the first place we want to go to is the speakers, like who's actually going to be speaking there. So let me just go to the home page here real quick. Refresh this bad boy. Fantastic. Click on program, go to speakers. Great, boom, here we go. Now, if it hasn't jumped out at you already, this is a pharmaceutical conference. Look at these titles. These are serious names. These are big time names in the space, VPs of strategic sourcing, VPs of sourcing and enterprise. It's an R&D conference. Director of strategic sourcing, head supplier diversity. But look at these companies. We're talking about Avellino Labs, Biogen, Charles River Laboratories. These are big, big names within the pharma space, and these are big, big names speaking on behalf of these companies. These people are passionate about what they do, and they cannot wait to get out and present and to speak and to deliver their keynote or their speaker session. So let's go ahead and just click on one person's name. Let's go with John Tornos. So we can basically see here, name, Pfizer, Vice President, Sourcing and Enterprise. That's all great and stuff. But his seminar, he's talking about developing sourcing and procurement strategies at light speed. That's at 4:15 p.m. And he talks about exactly, or they give you a description here rather, of what that session is going to be about and what the details are and what's going to be covered. Navigating a new paradigm and timelines for ideation to concept to launch, balancing financial optimization, supply assurance. So these are all buzzwords and keywords that are applicable and relevant to the mind and to the role in the day-to-day of someone like James. So if you're trying to get in front of procurement folks at Pfizer, here's an opportunity right now to reach out to James and say, James, I'm excited to come see you speak between April 26th and the 28th in Boston, in person at 4:15. I can't wait to see your session. We're really, really excited to learn from you. That was very high level, but something along those lines, because this right here, typically, when you see an event or a keynote or just an agenda for someone speaking, the speaker typically chooses what they're going to speak about versus the event picking it. And the reason why is this is an area where he's a domain expert, James is a thought leader, and or he's super passionate about this topic. This means a lot to James. And this is a great, great trigger and an entry point for you to put together some really good content through phone and email and LinkedIn. Get out there, get in front of James. And the list goes on and on. So you can see here, Diane Fortune, Samuel Moon, Tom, Gerard. So all these people have different talk tracks. They're talking about different things. What's he talking about? Head supplier and diversity. So he's got a talk track coming up. I'm not sure what time it's going to be happening, but it's definitely noted that Tom is going to be speaking. Okay, so what I did here is I basically went into Sales Navigator at this point, and I have some lead lists that I have built out. So the first one is the speakers for the 6th annual R&D sourcing and procurement. So what I did was I built the list name first, and then I went and just ran searches to try to find these people. And then once I found these people that are going to be speaking, I went ahead and added them to the list. So now I have an active list here of leads. These are the speakers, the prime suspects and prospects that I want to go after in a nice, organized place that I can really, really sink my teeth into, manage my time effectively, and track them and prospect into them on an as-needed basis. I can see job changes right away. I can see who's been posting on LinkedIn in the last 30 days, which is important. Maybe they posted something that is near and dear to them or they find really important within their industry or space that you can go read, grab onto, relate to, and write a message about when it comes to prospecting. So hopefully this is kind of giving you a sense of where my mind is going and what I'm doing here at SalesGevity for our clients. There's no reason why you as an SDR or an AE or an appointment setter or a biz dev person or a marketing person can't do the same exact thing that I'm doing. Super easy to do. The data's there. It's all right in front of you. You just have to go after it. I'm really big on using the notes section here, so I can put anything I want here, and I'm going to give you a better use case of that when I go over to the Adobe Summit show, and I show you the list that I'm beginning to build for Adobe Summit as well. So I can see when my invitations were sent out last, and when the last activity took place. Also, I can see who's a first level connection, a third level, and second. So first level, obviously, these are folks that I just blindly sent invites to. The reason why I like sending out invites, obviously, is I want to be a first level connection because when I post content in my feed, I want them to see it. So let's go check out the Adobe session, or the Adobe Summit, rather. So here's the session, details, everything's great. There you go, speakers. So obviously we have Ryan Reynolds. We should all know who Ryan Reynolds is at this point. He's the keynote, which is awesome. And then it looks like the featured speakers are a group of Ryan Reynolds and Adobe executives. But as you scroll down, you have session speakers. You can filter by track, area of expertise. And although there's a healthy mix of Adobe folks in here, there's also some really, really awesome companies. Allergen Aesthetics, RingCentral, IBM, Anthem. I mean, the list goes on and on. These are people that many of us listening to this session right now, or listening to this video rather, are really trying very, very hard to get meetings with. So here's a great opportunity for us to go and do exactly what I just did for the R&D conference. Let's do it for the Adobe Summit and just follow the same process. So I've added a few of these folks already to my list. One of those individuals out of the 4 or 5 that I've added to the list already, I believe is down here somewhere. It's Ty Heath. She's from LinkedIn. Shout out to LinkedIn. So she's the Director of Engagement, the B2B Institute of LinkedIn. Ty's passionate about connecting people with information, et cetera, et cetera. But this link right here takes us to her talk track. So we can see what she's going to actually be speaking about. Performance branding from communication to conversion. Ty Heath, track B2B, products that it falls under, and there's no doubt that marketing has the most influence on future sales. Not sure if I agree with that, but I would still want to check out Ty's talk track for sure. So obviously this is all, if you're set up with Adobe and you're registered, you can start to add these things to your itinerary and your schedule for the show. But it tells you when she's going to be speaking, on what date, which kind of gives you a better sense of when you can plan and do that kind of stuff. And then what I did here is very similar to what I did with the R&D conference. I did it for the Adobe Summit. So I don't have everyone loaded up yet because I'm currently working on it. But we can see the accounts that they're working for. These are big names: Stripe, Victoria's Secret, Epsilon, LinkedIn, right? I'm sure any of us listening to this call, we have at least one of these accounts on our top target list, most likely. So what I did here on the notes section, though, for Ty, which I'm going to start doing more and more of, is just, so here's the link to the portal, which takes you right to her talk track and her session and her event and what she's speaking about and time and all the details and stuff. And then I actually just went ahead and just popped it in here too as a note. So I can actually see like what, during this session, you're going to learn about why future buyers are important to sales growth, how to utilize LinkedIn, which is great, track B2B marketing. Okay, cool. So I have some really good stuff here. Outreach activity, just keep in mind, outreach activity is only going to be applicable to any outreach activity you do in LinkedIn using the LinkedIn medium, like InMail and connecting and that kind of stuff. So it's super easy to add people to the list too. So like once you find like a name that you actually want, you just click on save. So I'll just unsave it for an example here. So you click on save and then your list will come up. You can just go ahead and just add them to that list. So when you go back, they're on that list for you. So let's take a step back here for a second. What are we doing here? What we're basically doing is we're going after the people that we really need to talk to, not the people attending the show, not the people walking the floors, not the people who have booths. No, we want to talk to these people. And look, if there's 50 speakers at Adobe speaking, if we just crack through to 2 or 3, even just to say, hey, I got your email, thanks for your info. Maybe at some point I'd like to learn, but right now I'm really busy. Major, major, major win. You engage, you connected, you put your brand in front of that person, and now they know who you are. And you know me, I always say, I always ask the question rather, to gauge my success for the week on a Friday. I kind of reflect and I say, do more people know about us this week than last week? Do more people know about my client this week than last week? Do more people know about my customer this week versus last week? If I can say yes with data to back it up, I'm winning. They're winning. We're all winning. This is just another great way, in my humble opinion, the best way to leverage a trade show. So ignore the list that marketing sends over. Don't tell marketing I said that you should do that. But maybe they might appreciate this approach because they're putting a lot of money into these shows as well, and they want to get the most from that budget and that effort. But I do highly recommend any show you're planning on going to, even if you're not going to the show, even if it's just an industry trade show or event that you can't attend, but you know that these people are going to be speaking there and it might be virtual, or the talk track might be available later, or the presentation might be available later, you can still use the same exercise. The point is you're going to get critical information about key buyers, your key prospects, your ICP through those talk tracks and those sessions. These are things that these people really, really, really care about and are looking forward to sharing. And harness the enthusiasm that these people have right now. They are super pumped to get out of the basements, the kitchen tables, the home work office, whatever the situation was, pre-COVID or pandemic. I get my skin crawls when I even say those words, but they want to get back to life, and life for them is being on the road, giving these presentations and seeing smiles on people's faces and educating people and helping them level up too. This means a lot to them. Harness that, use that, reach out human to human. You can't automate this shit. This is hard work. You got to put your head down. You got to grind. You got to take your time. You got to build these lists. You got to curate the information, and you got to do it right. But it will pay massive dividends for you. So if you like this video, please share it with your friends, family, loved ones, maybe some enemies, I don't know. We are on YouTube, Rumble, and LinkedIn. Any subscription, likes, whatever you guys can do out there to support the channel and what I'm trying to do here would be greatly appreciated. Be well, good luck, and I'd love to hear how you make out with this exercise and these efforts. See ya.